There are often such situations in a person's life that he does not understand how to face the situation. Often a person's blind faith teaches a person a lot. If I talk to my own experiences, I am willing to say with ease that we should not trust anyone. I agree that it is in human nature to cheat, but if a person is giving immense love and they still cheat you, think what kind of stone-hearted person that person will be. Often a person can be attracted to any direction to quench his lust. He will do anything to quench his thirst without considering the children even. Today I am going to share with you a life-changing incident of my life which still makes my soul tremble and my heart skip a beat. This incident was definitely the scariest part of my life, which is not even good to think about. To tell you the truth, I am sharing this personal part of my life with you because I want many innocent men to stay away from deceiving. Let's backtrack to the year 2017 when I got married to a very decent and very well-spoken woman who worked as a music teacher in my nephew's school. Often when I went to pick up my nephew from school, that woman would come in front of me. Her way of talk was indeed incredibly attractive. When she used to talk, it was heartwarming that people kept listening to her words. Her voice was really sweet. I love hearing her voice so much that I often went to my nephew's school, complained to him so that I could talk to her. Often there was a character day at my nephew's school. Then I asked this lady that would you like to walk to the coffee cafe with me? She replied in a perplexed version, okay. When we reached at the cafe, I did not know what to say. I kept looking into her eyes for a while. She was getting confused and asked, yes, why you called me here? I shook my head and told her that I will for sure tell you, and suddenly I called waiter. I ordered some peanut cake and dark chocolate shake for us. I started asking her certain questions like how many members are there in your family, how do you live, where do you live, etc. She might be got irritated. Actually, I was kind of confused that time. I did not know how to express my feelings. Finally, I mustered up my courage and asked her clearly that I like you and wanna marry you. She started smiling and her eyes were shining. She replied, I know that you like me and you have brought me here to express your love. I began to smile as well and said, I'm anxiously waiting for your reply. She came to me close and said that my smile isn't enough. What her tongue could not say, her beautiful eyes said, and I understood that she is also interested in me. We got married soon without delay. We went to Paris for our honeymoon, where we spent the best days of our lives. Sometimes we did late-night conversations at Roof where we enjoyed the marvelous scenes of milky stars and moon. Once, when she was resting her head on my shoulder, I asked her if anything happens, will you ever leave me? She smiled and replied, never. Please don't talk like that again. Her response melted my heart. I used to work as a manager in an ordinary company. My salary was just enough to feed my wife, but I wanted to give her a great luxury life. I felt that I could not become such a rich person from a simple managerial job. So I decided to start 2 or 3 major jobs. I invested in cryptocurrency and in an ordinary cafe. I started doing an online job as well. I used to work so hard that sometimes I felt my body does not have the will to stand up. But when my wife's face came in front of my eyes, I got energetic and went to work freshly. Even in such a busy and difficult life, I never ignored my wife morally and physically. After a few months, I appointed a cook for my wife because cooking was a difficult task for her. I loved my wife very much that I wanted to give her a life like a queen. I wanted to fulfill all the wishes of my wife and obey her every word. To tell you the truth, I was not responsible at all before marriage, but after marriage, I became so responsible that I used to wonder at myself. I wanted my wife to give birth to a child. Fate soon became kind to me and I came to know that my wife is expecting a child. Hearing the news of her pregnancy, my joy knew no bounds. My heart wanted to sing and dance. To celebrate our happiness, we went to a nearby restaurant where we ordered cheesy pizza, chicken wings, and vegetable soup. She loved going to the restaurant. Now I took care of her more than before. Now my work also started going well and I started getting a lot of profits. I also bought a lovely fancy house which was huge. I thought that whatever I got was my wife's luck. So I also put my wife's picture on my room. Time flew by and very soon I got the good news that my wife delivered a baby boy. I kissed my wife's forehead and patted her. My son had blue crystal eyes and plump lips. He resembled to his grandmother. I called my sister who just settled in Chicago to share the good news that my happiness was nowhere to be found. I honestly had no idea that fatherhood felt so beautiful. When we decided to name our son together, my wife and I started arguing. I went to name him Zion, but she wanted Sean as his name. Finally, we agreed on the combo of both names and we named him Sean. We had a welcome party for our son. Many of our friends came and we had a lot of fun. Seeing such a happy life, I used to feel that God is so kind to me that He has given me every blessing of life. After the welcome party, we took our son to church where we prayed for our son's good fortune. To further enjoy this happiness, I went to a club with my friends at night where we drank a lot of alcohol and smoked cigarettes. It was indeed a superb day. Time flew by and my son became 3 years old boy. I wanted my son to get into a very good, well-known school. I admitted my child in the best school in town. It was very difficult for me to provide pick and drop to the child, so I bought a new car and also hired a new driver to provide pick and drop to my child. He belonged to driver agency. His age was nearly 23. His appearance looked kinda suspicious and strange. Although he was handsome, but he remained silent most of the time. Sometimes I thought he was dumb and not able to speak, but when it comes to his performance, I could say he was very obedient, dutiful, and responsible driver. Our driver not only used to pick and drop my child, but also used to do other things, took my wife to buy grocery, to her friends, etc. This driver made my job quite easy. One day my wife went to her friend's bridal shower with driver. I remember the night when she reached home in morning instead of night without informing me. When I asked driver about it, he began to shiver immediately and my wife said, "My friend insisted me to stay, that's why." Without considering the matter more, I went to my workplace where I got to know that the cafe where I invested going very well and highly liked by people. Many bloggers promoted the cafe's signature cake, coffee and puddings as well. Many other investors wanted to buy this cafe, but I, with my good references and the huge demanded amount, which was almost my whole life saving and fruit of entire life hard working, succeed in buying the cafe. I knew it would be very beneficial in future. When I got home, I told my wife everything and she said that I had made the right decision. She was high that time, but I was quite tired of the whole day. She wore fancy hot lingeries to seduce me. I kissed her hands and then we did it. She probably got no satisfaction because I was really tired. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning. That was the most hell morning for me. I was sleeping while hugging my wife. My phone started ringing. I moved towards side table and extended my hand to pick the phone. I was literally drowsy. On picking the call, I became freeze for a while and began to sweat. In a hustle bustle, I ran to my car. My wife asked what happened. Everything finished. The cafe which I had bought yesterday set into fire. There was also having some people in the cafe too for breakfast. They might be burned. I then horribly moved towards the car and began to drive in a fit of fury and extreme fast. My senses was like almost lost it. I don't know what to do or how to do. The imagination of cafe popped up in mind and every effort I made spinning in my mind. I was so immersed in the thoughts that unfortunately another misfortune event happened that changed my whole life. My car crashed and I got a severe accident. This accident gave me extreme pain and long-term physical injuries. Moreover, I got high emotional injuries after the big losses. My hope all lost, and there's no ability to enjoy life. I paralyzed because I got damage to the spine. My wife and my son was crying badly after seeing me like this in the hospital bed. My financial condition was now unstable. My sister used to support me financially. Then I came to know that the asset I reserved in crypto now became beneficial for me. This profit somehow stabilized our financial situation. I got admitted for about 3 months in a hospital. That days was like nightmare. My wife used to be at home and I was alone to stare at the walls of hospital. She used to visit me once in a week or sometimes twice in a week. Maybe she did not even think of my recovery according to her action and her behavior. She used to think that now I am totally disabled. There was one nurse in the hospital named Kylie. She used to take care of me like a baby. Sometimes I wish that my wife would be there for carrying me instead of Kylie. Finally, I got discharged from the hospital and went to my home. I was expecting to have welcome at my house, but she did not arrange anything. I was in wheelchair and was totally dependent. My wife was not taking care of me by saying that she is occupied with the son and home chores. I then appointed Kylie as my caretaker. She even used to make healthy soup and salads for me. I started getting recovery with her tremendous efforts. I was highly disappointed from my wife's attitude and behavior. She had actually accepted and fitted in her mind that I could not stand or walk once again in life. She did not even put any efforts for my fast recovery. She started considering me as a patient. One day when Kylie was massaging my shoulder, she meanwhile rested her head on my shoulder. Maybe she was tired and wanted to sleep. I caught kind of feeling after all she was very caring towards me. I wanted to rest my head back on her head, but then picture of my wife and son appeared in front of my eyes. I then did not consider Kylie. One day when I was sleeping, meanwhile my eyes blinked to get water. Thirsty me heard some inappropriate sounds coming out from my bedroom. I thought perhaps my wife is watching adult stuff. Obviously, we were not having a physical relationship since 3 months. Tears trickled down my cheeks by the thought that I could not even stand at this worst stage of time. But then I promised myself not to lose courage, but to act with courage. I believed that man can conquer anything if he would have willpower. I kept trying to slowly lift my hands and feet and try to walk. In this journey, Kylie really supported me, but my wife did not. She stopped talking to me. Even she started considering me useless in the home. I was very disappointed to think that she is the woman for whom I worked day and night. I used to lie in bed whole day, but I could not understand that why would I not hear my wife's voice in the whole house. My financial situation was not so good, so I wanted to get the driver out, but my wife convinced me that it's not a good idea. It would be difficult for me to manage everything alone. Finally, after 6 months, I was kinda healed. One day when I was trying to stand while sitting on wheelchair, I immediately stood up. Kylie was so happy for me, but the expressions of my wife were unexpected. She showed no happiness and excitement. It seemed like she's not happy with all this happened. My son hugged me. Kylie wanted to have a party to celebrate this recovery, but my wife did not respond. I was not able to walk properly. Even that time I could not walk for long. I used to walk with support of walls and furniture. I have observed slight changes in my wife's behavior as she started to help me out in walking. Perhaps she thought that I could walk properly once again. After 2 months, I was able to walk properly. I wanted to drive a car once again, but there was a lot of fear. I wanted to work hard in order to earn good money and recover the financial loss. My driver used to give me pick and drop. One day when I was going with him in a car, we stuck in the traffic. I felt kinda boredom, so I started looking here and there. My eyes caught on a sexy lingerie of red color. When I asked him about this, he did not respond, but began to sweat. I prohibited him to stay away my car from his personal use. Another day when I was in the office, I received a call from my son's school that he is not fine. I remember on every Saturday my wife went to buy grocery and other domestic stuff with driver. So instead of calling the driver, I asked one of my friend for his car. He usually keep 2 to 3 cars with him. He asked me, should I drop you? Then I replied, no, I wanted to drive. It's been long since I have not drove the car. I will return your car back tomorrow. He said okay and gone. I hurriedly moved towards my son's school. Thing is, I wanted to drive the car by my own as I was tired of this disability and maybe this disability was causing stress for me. Furthermore, I wanted to reach my son's school as soon as possible. I chose a smooth path. It took me about 15 minutes and I reached my son's school. I then bought him some chocolate and medicines. I myself was feeling tired, so I decided to rest in home for some time. On reaching the home, I asked my son to sleep. He was searching for his mother, but then I told him that she probably in the market. I then went to the garage, which is at backside of our house, to park the car. On moving towards garage, I stopped the car before reaching inside the garage. After seeing my own car still parked in the garage, which is driven by driver, I stepped towards the car to know the matter. What I have seen in the car will surely shock you. I saw my wife and driver were fully undressed and going kissing. I got shocked and started kicking on the car. They both got attentive and began to cover themselves up. This was the first time I saw my wife with him physically. Probably they were active doing this since my accident. I slapped on her face and she began to slap me back, but I held her hands. I divorced her and kicked her out. She herself admitted that she was physically active with the driver since long even she got pregnant as well. She cried and apologized a lot. With the help of a highly paid lawyer, I succeeded in taking custody of my son. I don't know where is she now exactly. I came to know from one of my friends that she is in an orphanage where she is taking music classes, or others are saying that she is working as a maid in a bungalow of rich people while the driver has left the town. I'm living happy life with my son, and Kylie, who was my nurse, is pregnant. My business is also going good. What would you do if you got the same situation?